This guy on my left here, CM Punk, after 9 months away from an all elite wrestling ring, made his return on the debut episode in Chicago at the United Center of All Elite Wrestling Collision Saturday night. And oh boy, he had some things to say, including when is he telling lies? Now, this is a very interesting story. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it because we have covered this story in depth over the last 9 months. The issues between CM Punk and the Elite, also known as the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, along with Hangman Adam Page, when it came to what happened at All Out last year, obviously, with CM Punk and Jon Moxley with the AEW World Championship and the Trios titles won by Omega and the Young Bucks, and the fight that happened backstage, and them coming back in November at full gear. CM Punk sounding like he was not going to return to AEW, and now here we are 9 months later with an essential brand split, even though Tony Khan won't say it because I don't think he wants to say it. Maybe premium live events or pay-per-views, all like WWE does. They'll bring the Collision roster and the Dynamite roster together. But I think for the most part here, AEW pretty much created a second show and a brand split for CM Punk. My understanding is the second AEW show, AEW Collision, was going to happen anyway, but CM Punk was the biggest draw and the major reason why this was happening. Now, CM Punk can get anybody to a TV set. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of AEW. I went on record for the last 4 years that at AEW Double or Nothing 2019, that inaugural AEW event that made me think that AEW, a lot like TNA back in the day, because I used to watch TNA in 2011 and 2012 when they had Mickey James, James Storm, RVD, Kurt Angle, Sting, Jeff Hardy, Bobby Roode, all of these sort of ex-WWE guys that Eric Bischoff and Hogan and crew booked well, but some TNA guys that I really liked. AJ Styles included in that. Then TNA obviously lost its popularity, lost its way. Dixie Carter left the company, and TNA has never really recovered. So AEW was supposed to be the biggest alternative to WWE since Ted Turner's WCW in the 90s. And that inaugural AEW Double or Nothing event in 2019 made me feel that. The Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes match that was all bloody and the hugs afterwards and everything that match was, that was probably a 5-star wrestling match. I think I graded it 4.5 at the time. I'd have to go back and rewatch. Probably a 5-star wrestling match though, and AEW felt different. The one thing I did not want them to do, it was okay to bring in a few ex-WWE guys. I think you had to do that. Obviously, Chris Jericho was one of them. He was sort of the main attraction for AEW. But over time, to me, AEW really catered to the hardcore audience. They did not cater as much like TNA did. TNA tried to be different, but they also tried to cater to all wrestling fans. AEW to me really harped on that extreme old ECW, very hardcore. We're number one. We're gonna take down WWE sort of attitude, and the constant shots at WWE and the lame storytelling that AEW was producing turned me off of AEW. And I've also been on record over the last 4 years that I'm not the biggest fan of Tony Khan. I think Tony Khan, a lot like Vince McMahon, is a great promoter. In terms of creative and knowing it all, I'm not the biggest fan of Tony Khan. Tony Khan strikes me as a guy, thinks he's the smartest man in the room. Again, always taking shots at WWE, always thinks he knows what's best for business, always thinks AEW is going to beat Raw and beat SmackDown. And while I admire his enthusiasm, sometimes AEW can't even sell 3,000 tickets to an event. But CM Punk and Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, when they all made their AEW debuts, that was right around all out 2021. Obviously, Punk a couple weeks before that when they launched AEW Rampage. That was supposed to be AEW's big coming out party. And ever since then, Bryan Danielson has been underutilized in AEW. We know all the controversy that has surrounded CM Punk since he came into AEW, and Adam Cole, of course, has been out with injuries. And it just sort of felt like outside of MJF, to me, AEW didn't have anybody worth watching. I like Bryan Danielson. He's not going to get me to a TV set in AEW. He will get me to a TV set in WWE because I'm a WWE fan. I'm a big fan of Daniel Bryan, but he's just not a guy that will get me to AEW. And what I've learned is CM Punk will not get me to watch AEW weekly either. I've always been a fan of Punk. I've been a fan of Punk since his WWE days. Best in the world, cult of personality. I even have a cult of personality CM Punk WWE t-shirt. But I wanted to tune in because I wanted to hear what CM Punk had to say in a promo. Because every time CM Punk has a microphone in his hand, he's sitting down in the middle of the ring. He can say whatever he wants. It has potential to explode. And the promo to me was very underwhelming. To me, they made it clear that he's coming back as a heel, that he doesn't care what people think of him, which I think is the right decision because I think Punk has always been the best as a heel. A lot like a Randy Orton, a lot like an Edge, where they can play the babyface role. Sometimes guys are just natural born heels. To me, CM Punk is a natural born heel, especially when he has a microphone in his hand, and any place other than Chicago, they're going to boo him. But from ticket sales and from reading things online, from Twitter to the internet, which, by the way, if you go on sites like Cage Side Seats and Wrestling Inc., very different reactions in terms of Twitter, which again, only 15% of the world or something like that is on Twitter. So it's not the end all be all. But from the reaction I got, is that a lot of people did not want to see CM Punk back in AEW. And as a lot of fans, as many fans are of CM Punk, it sounds like a lot of them, after the All On Brawl last year, sort of turned on Punk. It was sort of his last straw, after he was difficult to deal with in WWE. We know why he left WWE. Came back to AEW and was basically the same guy he was at the end of his WWE run. And with AEW building up guys like MJF, like Adam Page, obviously like the Young Bucks, like Jon Moxley, like Jungle Boy, like Ricky Starks, a lot of people felt like, AEW didn't need CM Punk. And to me, that will be justified by the ratings. I'm excited to see. I'm recording this on a Monday. Excited to see how the ratings come out when they come out. Today at the time of this podcast, to see what AEW Collision does. My guess is it'll be about 1.2, 1.3 million for the first show. But obviously, as we get into college football season, as we get into the NFL season, and WWE's premium live events, as we get into the fall, can AEW at least maintain some of that viewership like Raw does? Obviously, Raw crashes for Monday Night Football, but they do retain some of that leadership. They have good stars like Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, and they do special events to get people to tune in. Will CM Punk be a major draw? Will he get people to buy tickets? Will CM Punk re-put AEW back on the map? And that is a major question. To me, Punk does not need the AEW World Championship, though I think for marketing purposes, if you want to put it on him, I would totally get that. I think Punk's coming back, though, to work with the young talent, to really elevate and to show that he is still the best in the world and he wants to get in there with a lot of different people. I've never questioned CM Punk's passion for the pro wrestling business. My question is he worth all the controversy? Which, if you book CM Punk and FTR versus the Elite at All In London, I may actually go on instead of streaming. I may actually buy that pay-per-view event because that will sell tickets. That, for pure wrestling fans, again, I'm a WWE casual 90% of the time, though I love the backstage talk, whether it's AEW, New Japan, TNA. I love backstage wrestling news. So to me, if you book this match and you get the storyline where we see CM Punk in the ring with the Elite, that's a moneymaker. That sells tickets because a lot of people know who CM Punk is. A lot of people in the wrestling industry knows what happened with this fight, this real fight backstage last year at All Out. If you go to Wembley Stadium and you book this match, this may be the highest viewed outside of WrestleMania, potentially the highest viewed pay-per-view non-WWE in history. And it could even beat some of WWE's B-level pay-per-views. So that they're not going to do it, and I totally understand legal purposes why, but I think that's how you get CM Punk back in the good graces of AEW. And again, we'll see if he can sell tickets for the promotion going forward. You like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.